sounds kind of weird, but all of my life I've been really fast. Like when I was in kindergarten, we would play tag and I would be really good. Then finally in 6th grade, they let kids do after-school sports. And so I did cross country. I was like, oh, there's a sport where all you do is run? That's perfect. A typical workout day for me is I get up at 7 o'clock and go out for a 4 to 6 mile run. I go to school. There's, all of that in between there until 3:30. And that's when I come and work out with the team. And then at like 5:30, sometimes 6, we're finished and I go home and do some push-ups. It's difficult to fit everything else that I do in there. Like, I don't have time after school to hang out with my friends. I can't. I have to make sacrifices, and that's a big one. To be honest, I want nothing more than to make this one season the best thing ever. Okay, first diary entry. Got some hardware to show off in the first race of the season. Ed CS Invitational. At the starting line, I forgot what team was next to me. They were, of course, doing the machismo sportsman thing where anything that's bad is gay. Right before the starting line, it's kind of weird to hear, but that's sports. And so the race is done. I got 3rd place behind Wyatt, came in first and broke the record, and then Petaluma Kid. I hope the medal wall gets littered this year. But then again, that's not what it's about. It's about the passion that I have for it. I love to compete. I love to do this.
I'm gonna get 2 of these. 1, 2, 3.
When I was in middle school and high school, and even college to a certain extent, I mean, it was during an era when you didn't come out. I mean, it was completely possible to believe that you were the only lesbian or only gay person in the world.
We were doing a drill, and the coach was throwing the ball at the kids, and this kid kept dropping it. And he's like, hang on to the ball, don't be a faggot. And I just remember, it was easy for me, I could catch it, and I'd throw it back to him, and this kid was like, he was trying, but it was hitting him right in the face mask, like he just couldn't do it. And I just remember like that word, that was like the first time that word ever, I was a little boy, that word was being used so emphatically, and it just taught me a fag cannot catch a ball.
Unfortunately, even today, if you're in a school where there isn't any kind of leadership by the adults in that school to make sure that it's a safe place, or if the broader community is still hostile to gay and lesbian issues, it's a very dangerous place. And kids lose their lives every day, still today, because they aren't safe.
I am an out gay athlete. I played on the soccer team in high school. My last season was the 06-07 school year. I ended up leaving the school that I was playing for, which is why I've stopped playing sports. Unfortunately, I haven't played since, and I graduated May 1st of 2009. Ever since I was little, I've loved playing sports. I've played basketball, baseball, soccer. I was on the wrestling team in middle school for a while. So growing up, sports was always an important thing.
She was able to take pride in her abilities as part of a team. She belonged. It's somewhere where she belonged and fit in. Well, around here, homosexuality is not accepted. I suppose a lot of kids probably didn't care for her to begin with. So, I think it hurt her that they didn't like her for that.
Being in high school sucks. It's hard for anyone. But then when you add being gay on top of that, it's more of a challenge because you need to figure out, okay, do I tell these people? If I tell these people, are they still going to be a friend of mine? Are they still going to accept me? When I was on the soccer team, I started getting kind of close to some of them, but I held back a little bit because I didn't want them to know at first, and then I was like, whatever. There was one girl on the team in particular who was very touchy-feely with all of the girls, and she used to joke around. She'd be like, if I keep this up, someone's gonna mistake me for a lesbian. And it was like, hey, guys, I'm gay. Could you lighten up a little bit? At first, I thought when I first told them that they might stop making the little gay jokes and gay references, but it didn't affect them at all. And it was a really big blow for me because I'd always had sports.
Comments were made, and they were not kind comments, and yet nothing was done or said to these kids.
I have a friend who somebody went up to him and said, maybe I should bring my gun to school and shoot all the effing faggots. So as you can see, it's not a very welcoming, open-minded school.
It led her to miss a lot of school. I mean, she just wouldn't go. So I wound up homeschooling her.
When you're in high school, sometimes it's best if you don't come out. And I hate saying that. But if you come out, or if you're outed, and people don't accept you, it's hard because high schoolers can be cruel. Plain and simple, they can be downright cruel.
Berkeley High is one of the oldest schools in the state of California. It's, I believe, over 100 years old. Our student population is about 3,300. We have about 33% African American, about 33% Caucasian, maybe about 18% Latino, 11 or so percent Asian, and a lot of folks who describe themselves as mixed.
The questions on the board we're going to focus on later, about 20 minutes or so.
Berkeley High has the kind of reputation for being a very liberal, very open, very accepting school, but we have the sorts of problems that a lot of urban schools have. We have issues with, racism, homophobia, all the issues that any urban school anywhere in the nation is grappling with. We have them here.
One of the questions we need to ask with regards to all this is, why the younger son? Who's writing this story? Well, it's people in exile. People who have been captured, people who have been taken from their land, underdogs.
I found out Austin was gay when he was a freshman. And I thought, well, hey, cool, good for him. When I found out that he was an athlete, I was even more impressed. For somebody to be that so self-assured and also to be as good as he is in his sport, it's just kind of like, oh, that's awesome.
Let not enter their council, let me not join their assembly, for they have killed men in their anger. Yes, they have.
I would say that Austin has a fairly healthy ego, and I think that's a good thing. You need to have a healthy ego, I think, to bridge both worlds. To be honest about that at the age of 14, to be, the great athlete that he is, It ain't bragging if you can back it up.
There.
Yay! Thank you.
No problem.
I know, I tried to. How was your weekend?
Really tiring.
Did you win any races?
Nope, I took the SATs. By the end of 8th grade, I had just these urges and these desires and ideas were becoming so intense that I really honestly just couldn't ignore them anymore. At the beginning of freshman year, I kept trying to be attracted to girls, and yeah, I couldn't do it. It freaked me out.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I am a very heavy romantic. It gets me in trouble every once in a while, just because the way that high school is set up, it's all about the guys getting the girls, and I'm not part of that. So running helps kind of take away the hurt of not having someone, just because it's something to do. It's a distraction. And it's a very engaging distraction, so it helps a lot.
I remember the first time I saw Austin run, the first time I saw him race. And it was actually his first time going under 5 minutes for the mile, which is always a milestone for a high schooler, especially a sophomore. And was one of 3 runners who went to the postseason, I think, that year. But in that moment, I realized there was something special.
The JVs are going to turn on Laurel Loop Trail, and the varsity runners are going to turn and go up Peralta Drive.
Let's just go. Okay.
Go. You know, I came out to Ian. He's been a close friend ever since 6th grade. He was my first like guy friend. You know, it was fine. He was accepting. There were some other of my friends. They didn't take it too well. They just kind of started giving me some weird looks, and finally one of them was just like, "Are you gay?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I am." And they're like, "Okay." And just walked away. It did suck that I had to be like, "Oh, so this is my first case of homophobia."
Growing up, it was always man, woman, and child in the white picket fence, and that was the ideal life. That was the American dream, and that sort of thing. I didn't have images growing up of 2 men together, and that they could be happy.
I think that fear of the unknown is a huge part of hiding, is from ultimately hiding from yourself, because traditionally and historically there haven't been many people who had, for me anyway, who had shared who they were and shared their sexuality with just utmost authenticity. This is who I am. It's not all who I am. Here's everything who I am, and that includes that.
When you run, you're really like alone with your thoughts, and that's a time where you could really think about what's going on with your life. And I know when like I go on like maybe like an hour-long run, it's just nice to kind of have that time where you're not in classes or doing homework or worrying about like relationships and all that. So sports definitely kind of take you away from a lot of things in your life.
30, 31, 32. Very nice.
Well, I guess in my freshman year of high school, this is when I'm like really confident that I am gay and really like accepting that. And I was thinking, well, why does this have to be a secret?
I knew he was gay long before I think he knew he was gay.
Right around my 15th birthday, I felt like I needed to tell my family. Like I just needed to finally get it off my chest.
I could tell he had anxiety all day, and he kept saying to me, "There's something I want to talk to you about, but you're going to be really mad."
It's almost like when you go on a roller coaster and you're like, okay, now I can't go back. I just have to come out and do this. So what I ended up doing was writing the words on a piece of paper.
It just said, "I'm gay." And he handed me this little yellow piece of paper folded up. And I was emotional for him, not because I felt, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? This is awful. I just thought, wow, it took a lot of courage. And to think that he would think that I was mad, I think he felt for the first time maybe he was letting us down.
Lise called me in, and she said, "You got to hear this." And I just cried.
He I think shook his head, and he went immediately upstairs, and I didn't see him for another 20 to 30 minutes.
My perfect kind of lifestyle, I thought, was kind of shattered. I mean, I thought I had the perfect son in every which way.
I was an emotional wreck. I was completely torn apart, and it just made me think, is this how it's going to be between us our whole lives?
I cried when he told us because I was just, like I said, worried about everything, about how people would see him, treat him. I didn't care as that he was gay, but it was about how people would feel about him. I was like worried for him, I guess.
I wasn't worried about him. Maybe I'm selfish to a part. I just feel as a parent, maybe, and like I said, she's more open than me. It's kind of like almost like a stigma. I don't know. Oh, there's the gay parents, and I'm just not very comfortable with it.
I mean, it took him, I guess, a while to deal with that, but I think in the end, like he does realize that I'm his son, and this is a part of my life.
We don't talk about it really all that much, and I wish we could, because I feel that if it's a part of who our child is, I want to talk about any aspect of who they are.
I always tell my dad that he's not gonna change, so he's just gonna have to, live with it and get over it, and that doesn't really change anything, because it really doesn't.
I think Brenner, I think he knows I love him. I mean...
He knows you love him. He definitely knows you love him.
But, I mean, at this point, I just can't,
It's okay.
How about eggplant mush?
You mean in the pasta salad?
No. Bread.
Oh, on the bread.
On the bread.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hey!
Maybe
Got
not.
your charger.
We're backwards. You have to
You
make
want
a milkshake.
to charge it? Yes, I can. Take care of that, and I will make a milkshake.
Freshman year, high school, driving back from Piedmont High, where he was experimenting with the idea of being a pole vaulter. And he turns to me and he says, "Dad, I'm gay." And so it was kind of, yeah, of course, we know that.
Like, how did you know all this time? I didn't. Like, I mean, I did, but in a sense, I always knew they kind of had an inkling.
This is okay. This is okay.
Our concerns at that moment was not so much, hey, yeah, you're gay. It was,
You're having sex.
yeah, we're not ready for this. You're 15. We got some issues here. And even more importantly, I'm not ready for you to be a teenager because in my mind, you're still this child, and I want to hold on to that. I'm not ready to let go of you. I don't want you to be an adult. That was my big problem.
So what did? They take you over to the, where the league meet's gonna be? And then you guys just ran there? Uh-huh. It's in the street for a part of it. Oh, great.
I thought about how things might change in terms of school. The sports thing hadn't really gone into hyperdrive yet, but I don't think I thought that he was going to be limited in any way.
So, just curious, what's happening tonight? I don't know. You going out? Yes, for
probably.
sure. Okay.
When I was 16, at my first Olympic Games, I did go to another diver, Scott Cranham, who dove for Canada, and I knew that he was studying psychology and all that, and also he was kind of hot. And so I went to him and I said, well, I think I'm gay. And he just totally went into avoidance. I mean, he was just like, didn't want anything to do with me. It was fine when other people were around and all that, but just really went into avoidance. And, I really felt shunned and, that there was something wrong.
Athletics was the place where I really felt good about who I was. And so I think in some ways it was a way for me to kind of forget all of the dissonance that I experienced because I was gay in a world that you didn't even mention that word.
A lot of us hold on to like homophobic stereotypes and project them out. And it's interesting because when you do talk to a lot of people who have had that experience of being in the closet for a while and not letting their hopes and dreams be affected by their sexuality because their hopes and dreams are still a priority to them, they always say it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But that fear at the beginning is absolute and real and tangible. You can touch it and it's all over.
Rowing is the ultimate team sport. It's a group of usually 8 people sitting backwards in a boat trying to go as fast as they can down a 2,000-meter course. The mark of how good a crew is how well they row together. That boat is pretty heavy, and unless 8 people are doing exactly the same thing, it'll stay heavy. When 8 people are rowing together, it actually feels really light and the boat picks up out of the water and you just glide.
Okay, Lucas, square it early, clear the blade.
I've always been a really athletic person. I started rowing my sophomore year in high school. I was actually a cross-country runner before that. There was a string of injuries that meant I couldn't run like 30 miles a week anymore. So I knew I needed to find a new sport. And it had a lot of similarities to cross-country running. In that, it's just how well you do is a direct marker of how much work you've put in.
All right, so at firm paddle pressure, let's go 10 at half, 10 at full.
I went on exactly one date with a girl, and that was horribly awkward in the summer between my 8th and 9th grade year. I tried it once and never went back again. I didn't know what I was. I definitely knew that I liked certain things that I shouldn't like. And that scared me for a while. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to do the things that my classmates would. I was scared that I wouldn't be able to, get married and have a nice house behind a white picket fence in the middle of suburbia. Then there was a moment when I realized that being gay didn't change that. That I still didn't know what I was, but I knew that even if I did turn out to be gay, I could still live in a house with somebody who I loved and hopefully get married and have kids and do all the same things that everybody else did, and that it really didn't change anything. Being in the closet, I don't think that affected anything that was done on the water, but it definitely impacted my social life with my teammates because, 14-year-old, 15-year-old boys, when they go to parties, they're going after girls. I didn't go to any parties with them. I didn't hang out especially with them except for a couple times when we'd go out to dinner, that kind of thing. Really soon after that, I realized that I did need to come out. I needed to stop hiding because you just become paranoid. You start saying horrible things about gay people to try to make it sound like you like girls. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that anymore. The first person I came out to was actually one of my teammates. I was scared as you know what. And he said something like, well, leaves more ladies for the rest of us. And I thought I was on a roll, so I told one other person. He told the rest of the JV boat. At one point, we were in the middle of our ab circuit, and I said, have you guys figured it out yet? Our captain said, that you're gay? I nodded, and that was it. I didn't think any of them would leave me as friends, but I thought some of them might think of me as different. Once I came out, and I just generally became more comfortable with myself, I could, say what's on my mind. I needed less of a filter in my head between, how are they gonna think I'm gay because I say this? I didn't have to worry about that as much, which helped me relax, which gives you more energy to focus on getting faster.
A representative from Brown came to our school
for one of the a college visit, and I definitely attended.
So he's starting to look at colleges, and he's looking at Brown. That's his favorite. It's a funny thing to have to think about colleges in terms of, do they have a coach I can work with? But running will play a huge part in his selection of colleges.
You know, I think that I did stand out more than a bunch of people. I was, you know, attentive. I made eye contact, of course, like I always do. But you know, I asked a lot of questions. I think I asked like 4.
The sexuality issue is coming into it too, because obviously nobody wants him to be in a place where they've never seen a gay guy. You know, I think he's pretty well eliminated all the schools in the South. And he won't be going to Texas.
Wait a minute. I'm sure this transition is happening in the South too. I mean,
I'm not interested in being part of that experiment.
We are at league finals. It's still important because this is, you know, it's our league. These are people we've been competing against throughout the year, and we're gonna see who is league champion.
I think Austin will not have very much competition in this race, and so he's likely going to be a little bit conservative.
Go!
Varsity boys!
I did too.
Berkeley varsity boys! No, warm up. I never told my team that I'm gay. I know that people had talked about it when I wasn't there, because you know, people had told me, like, you know, people would ask, like, Austin, is he gay? Like, you know, things like that. But the only, like, time to my face was when we were in the circle stretching and Jacob brought up the fact that I was gay, and all the freshmen on the team looked up and, you know, one of them went, "You're gay?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And they were like, "Oh, cool." That was that. And plus, you know, it's interesting to have a gay athlete in general. They're rare. And if one of them is the captain of your cross-country team, kind of interesting, you know, they want to know.
There was a little bit of dropping out of the macho guy friends, and Austin's not part of that anymore. So we lost a few friends.
And I know he had some moments later on where, why did I do that? You know, what have I gotten into here? But he never elaborated
But
on
not
it.
because it was a problem, it was just because now all questions gay were directed to him.
That's what you are, that's what they are to you. Let them be a reminder at every step of the way. You mentally focus and you commit to each step, okay? And to each lap.
I think I had been coaching him for about a year before he kind of turned to me at one point and said, you know that I'm gay, right? I think if he had told me the first day I met him, I would have thought that it would be a problem. You know, my prejudices and everything being what they are, I just feel like that would have been a problem. After knowing him for a year, I knew that it wouldn't be.
Last race, guys.
Move down to Pinole Valley. Move down to Pinole Valley.
You guys know what to do, Berkeley. Last race to you.
All right, let's go. Let's go. See all those flags over there? That's the finish line.
An athlete is not a sexual preference. I hear homophobic, you know, phrases and speak at Berkeley High, you know, all the time, depending on what team you're with.
Ready, set, go!
Never once on the track team or the cross-country team. So I think, you know, either they're being sensitive to Austin or that's just not a part of the culture.
All right, Austin, remove the chain.
I think it shouldn't be and should never have really been an issue, because it doesn't matter out here on the track or on the field. You're not doing anything that is any remotely way sexual, so it shouldn't be an issue. Plus, it's your business. I'm sure that there are people who play sports where you know, close physical contact is involved, showering is involved, you know, things like that. I'm sure people get a little bit nervous because, you know, you have this idea that they might be doing it for the wrong reasons. But that's not why we do it. It's not why we play sports.
Austin! That's the mile, Austin. Take it home. You're the man, Austin!
It was what I expected. It wasn't particularly competitive. I knew that I was probably the fastest guy out here. I'd taken some time off, so this wasn't supposed to be an all-out thing, plus the more important races are coming up next week and the week after.
Number 1, in a time of 17:03, the boys varsity ACCAL league champion, Austin Snyder from
The next race is NCS, which is the North Coast section of California. Meet of Champions, which is the big one. It's how you qualify for state, top 7 go. To have the title of North Coast Sectional Champion in 2008 would be amazing.
It's a shame because I think a lot of us who happen to be gay or lesbian, you become very hard on yourself and you become overachiever in that mentality because you feel you've been trained by civilization that something about you is bad and you want to make up for it.
Being gay, you know, it really was motivation to be better than everybody else, to prove myself. And also validation to be a valuable person. That was a tremendous motivator for me to do well.
It was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen.
He would just like sit around and be like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh, look at my fucking hideous open wound. Metal shit poking out of it. Ugh. This fucking sucks. My injury is a stress reaction injury on my exterior right ankle bone. It hurt a little bit. It felt like something I had before, so I ran through it. So I have to wear this boot. After that, I'm probably gonna have about 4 or 5 weeks of no running.
The reality was he was in total agony and despair because he was going to miss all of the finals, the big races that he had, you know, thought about and trained so hard to get to, and those were gone now.
My teammates were pretty bummed. I mean, they knew how important this was to me. And it was just like biggest letdown ever. I want to burn this thing when I'm done with it. I hate it so much. I mean, look at it. It looks like a jail cell. I will see you guys later. I'm going to go to the doctor. When things like this happen, I basically just go under a rock. I try not to talk to many people. It wasn't that I didn't want to see my friends, I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go out. I just wanted to, like, sit in my bed and not move. I mean, time heals all wounds, obviously, but I'm still really, really depressed. This is where I used to run. Then it got cold, and then I can't run anymore. I'm scared he's gonna say that I'm gonna have to take 3 months off.
No, that's not going to be the case, but he may say that you have to gradually, over 3 months, get back to where you were. There was this whole, heavy weight of why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Am I being punished? And so he started going through the list, I guess, of every bad thing he's ever done in his life. And somehow being gay got in there. And there was this whole angst about, is God punishing me for this transgression?
So, are you ready to see your x-rays?
Yeah.
And you were ready for them to look worse, right? Did I prepare you for that?
Yeah, you
Excellent.
did.
So this is it's very subtle line through here, but that's the area.
Do I have to wear the boot more?
I would say probably it would be a good idea.
If I didn't have running anymore, you know what? No, I don't want to think about that. Let's not even think about a situation where that would happen. This is all I want to do. I just want to live track and field and cross country. I want to go out and do 15-mile runs, and I want to compete. And it's kind of an awesome feeling to push your body to a point where it's performing at its absolute best, and that's all it can do. And then working at it so that it can do even more. And it just feels really good. Man, I don't know how I'm gonna get back to the same way that I was.
You will. It's.
I can't do it like this. It's not gonna happen.
10%. You've got 6 months.
I'm definitely a person who thinks that more is better, and it's gonna be really tough to hold myself back that much. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And it just worries me because I had that mentality all throughout the cross-country training, and look where it got me.
We just gotta play it smart.
Yeah.
You gotta be disciplined and know that you could set yourself right back to square one pretty easily.
It's a little scary, but Dad brought up a good point. 6 months. It's a long time. Got plenty of time. Yeah.
There was a huge amount of homophobia. There really was. And this it doesn't make me feel any better, but it's interesting that being an Olympic athlete at that level ended up sort of saying, well, if you're that good, we'll take all of you, the all of you, including that part. So it was good and bad because it made me feel like, oh, you're not so bad for a gay woman.
Do that. Got it. I think that when a female athlete comes out as opposed to a gay athlete, it does not have as much of an impact because there's the stereotype, well, lesbians are masculine and play sports and stuff like that, which, in a lot of cases is true, but not for everybody. Shit, that didn't work.
Sport is considered to be a man's domain. And the lesbian label, as long as that is a negative label, is still used to make women feel a little uncomfortable about being athletes or being muscular.
Field. Kick it wrong way!
I think it's very difficult for men to be professional athletes and be gay, and I can't see that changing nearly as quickly as I think it has for women, although I think women are still more tempted to hide as well because they don't still want to fit the stereotype.
Just look at the reactions to Cheryl Swoops coming out versus John Amici coming out, because they're both, professional basketball players. When Cheryl came out, there was a flurry of media attention, of course. But there was also this undercurrent, in the reports and on a lot of the blogs that were sort of like, WNBA player comes out, that's news, come on, we knew it, they're all lesbians. It kind of gets discounted. The courage that it took, for her to come out. John Amici comes out, and it was like treated as a much more important event because he was a man in a professional sport like basketball.
You're on my team. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think it's harder for a gay male athlete to come out than it is for a female. There's a stereotype of, men in general, they're supposed to be tough, manly, they're supposed to get the girl. If you had, a school quarterback for the football team who came out, I think that'd be a major blow to stereotypes, and I think it would change a lot of people's thoughts.
UConn's division and UConn 16 was better. UConn 16 was definitely better.
Go to the third court. We're going to try to get down here, catch a report down there, okay?
I didn't know about Brenner until he first came to me and said, Coach, I would like to speak to you after practice. We came into my office, I believe, and he said, Coach, I have something I want to tell you. And he had a big smile on his face. And I said, sure, do you want to sit down? He said, no, I just want to tell you. I said, okay, what do you want to tell me? He said, I'm gay. I said, okay, that's good. I said, what else do you want to tell me? He said, are you okay? I said, I'm fine. Are you okay? And he said, yes. I said, and then I thought, are your teammates giving you a problem about this? And I asked him that. He said, oh, Coach, not at all. He said, the team's been great. I said, do they know? He said, oh, sure, they've known. And then he said, it's not like when I told some kids on the high school team. And I said, what? And he said, well, I did come out when I was at NFA. And he said, I stopped getting, I guess in high school, a big thing is before a cross-country meet, they have pasta dinners at different families' homes. And he said, after I told some people, he said, I stopped getting invited. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. You know, to me, that was shocking.
It definitely hurt my feelings not being invited to these parties anymore, or being so included in the conversations. I kind of felt isolated. I felt more like an individual athlete than kind of on a team.
It might be different from sport to sport as well. I would think that cross-country, track, some of the individual sports might treat this issue that we're talking about a little bit more openly than it might be in a team sport situation.
Backwards running, kick your butt and reach out. Take as long of a stride as you can, but kick your butt first. I kept saying, and then how are you?
I can only imagine that dealing with an inner struggle like that, that must have a significant impact on a young person. Sometimes I get on these guys pretty hard when they're doing a hard workout, and you know, again, it's part of my attempt to motivate, and I have to realize, be gay or not gay, they have emotions, they have feelings, and I have to realize that too.
1, 2, 3, come!
You know, I'm not sure where it starts. I know where it started for me, and that was my coach, Ron O'Brien. He was incredibly supportive. I felt like a truly whole person with him. It's great when you have that type of support.
Weather for the weekend is looking pretty benign. It's going to be warm. The high wind they're predicting is like 8 miles an hour, so it should be pretty minimal.
Every time you hear, you know, that test was so gay, it actually, you know, does sting a little bit, because you know that it's such a subconscious connection between that horrible history test and being gay.
We're gonna just go a little bit past here, so we drift in.
There's a fair amount of unintentionally homophobic language that's used all the time. You know, people refer to people as being gay when they mean wimp, or being pussies when they mean a wimp, something like that. When I think about how, you know, me and my college friends interacted and talked about these and thought about homosexuality, you know, 25 years ago, I don't think any of us were bigots, you know, but it was definitely a totally different conversation. Different language was used, different attitudes, and I've, you know, more than these guys, I've had to sort of grow up and realize that's not okay.
Lane 4, up 1 foot. Lane 3, up 1 foot.
I don't think it's crucial that they all love each other or even like each other, as long as they all respect each other and want to do the same work to be good.
MIT,
Locked and loaded.
go!
Right, half, 3/4, lengthen, yeah, good, 42, push.
Playing in sports definitely earned me the respect of the more traditional jocks, at least a little bit. I remember there was one time when one of the star basketball players on my high school team. I was in class with him, and he made a comment about that fag substitute teacher, and I looked over, and he realized his mistake, and he apologized immediately, and it felt pretty genuine.
2 minutes down, nice and tall. We'll go for open. We're at the 750. We'll take open for 10. Finishes now. Legs.
One of the coach's main jobs is to maximize what you've got. And to do that, you may have to make everybody feel valued, knowing that if you're talking to a team of 40 guys, even if none of them are openly gay, statistically some of them probably are. And you can't say things that would offend them, you know, because it pushes them away, and you can't succeed that way.
Good. 3.5 minutes down, 2.5 to go. Sleep nice and tall. Again, we want to get out in front of that Colgate crew, maybe give them a little wake for our crush. Keep that momentum.
When we went to nationals, my coach came into my hotel room, just me, and he said, I know that you're gay, and I know that they know that you're gay, and I know they make jokes about it. Is that okay with you? And I said yes, because it really didn't bother me. He said, well, I know that sometimes you say that, just try to go along, but if you're really not okay with it, I'll crack down. I said, no, I'm okay with it. And he left. It was a really horribly awkward conversation, but I could tell that he would have made whatever changes he needed to make me feel comfortable if I didn't feel comfortable.
10 minutes to go. We're going to find that resistance on the build. Getting ready for it in 2. Ready, go now. Over 5. Legs, boom.
I have no idea what Lucas has gone through in the process of coming out. I mean, I can't. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Lucas, even more so when I found out that he was gay. Because even though times have changed, it's still harder. It's got to be harder. You're a minority, if nothing else. And people do have attitudes, and he's just met it head on, you know?
This one, last 5. Legs, boom. Legs, boom. Legs, boom. Getting ready for the flag. Nice. Nice.
Every year I've rowed, the boat that I've been in has gotten faster. So it's a nice continuation of a nice trend.
We won by 10 seconds, so hard pressed to come up with complaints. No, you look good. Enjoy it. Nail that high to the barn door, right?
Safe.
1, 2, 3.
I love this sport. Would never let anything come between it and me.
2, 3.
Mom, please wake up. I'm going to Brown. I love you. I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much.
What?
What do you mean, what?
You got him?
From like the lowest low to the highest high. Shit! Yeah. Whoa, yeah! I hereby sign away my life. I really wanted this school. I love the coaches, I love the team. And I don't know, I just always imagined myself running in a brown uniform.
UNC and UConn are like destroying. Yeah, UNC against Radford, UConn.
Brenner incurred a stress fracture of one of the metatarsals in his foot at the very beginning of the indoor track season. It's probably something he sustained during the end of the cross-country season.
Injuries are very common in the sport of running, and you just kind of have to do alternative training. So that was hard, not being able to run, because you see all your teammates going out for a run, and you just want to be kind of still a part of training with them.
This year, our tag told me like 30 minutes before the deadline. He's like, oh yeah, just do one, so I filled it out. Wisconsin, obviously, the powerhouse.
When I train, I always feel like there's a sense that I need to almost prove that I'm as good as them, as if gay athletes can be just as good as straight athletes. I don't necessarily think that gay athletes have to prove more than straight athletes, but I think in our heads we have that in our mind that we do have to prove more.
I could see that gay athletes would feel pressure to kind of prove themselves against their heterosexual counterparts, just because there might
some people might have the image that they can't work as hard, they can't train as hard. So I could definitely see that as being a stereotype that they'd have to work through. I don't think it's fair. I mean, Brenner, he's been hurt since beginning of indoor track, and every day he's been 70 to 90 minutes on the bike. And it's not just that it's a hard workout, it's a little monotonous. And to be able to do that every day, he's been working really hard to get in shape, and I think he'll have a pretty good season once he gets running again.
Do you still have to go and run, or are you just going to go to practice?
No, I'm going to come to practice. Dale will be there, and she can massage it. I mean, can it possibly hurt? It can only help loosen it up.
Team cohesion is definitely a huge part in the success of our cross-country and track teams here. We spend a lot of time together. With all the running and all the workouts we do, we generally eat meals after practice together. I mean, you got to get to know guys when you're running with them 70+ minutes every day.
Yeah, Brendan, you got to stop getting stronger. You're going to surpass me.
I don't know. I don't feel like I'm lifting that much. No. But the thing with us is like when we had the fractures, like for most of the part we just lifted instead. That's all we could do, yeah. Like do the bike and then since we're there, lift.
It's kind of hard to like concentrate on running and then. I never bench. Yeah. And I don't like push-ups.
When Brenner told us he was gay to the team, I mean that was good for him. I mean for some people I could see it'd be hard coming out to the team. You don't know how everyone's going to react to it and whatnot. You never know how your teammates are going to deal with it. So I mean, now that everyone was pretty supportive of it, and I think it just makes us closer to the team that you're comfortable with coming out to us and trusting us to accept you as part of our team still.
But now let's get to the Student Daily Bulletin for March 13th, Friday the 13th, woo, 2009. Administration, support your senior class and bring a flyer to Jamba Juice on Bancroft today. 20% of your purchase will go to the senior class leadership to help pay for the prom. I'm out of the boot. I've had a nice little moment to reconnect with my friends. It's hard because like, I see all my friends are dating, all my friends have boyfriends or girlfriends, and they're happy and they have somebody that they can just like kick it with and do nothing and have fun because they enjoy each other's company, and I want that. I can go out tonight. Yeah. I'm not running on Saturday anymore. I made a Facebook group for all of the kids who got into Brown for cross country and track, so I'm meeting all of my team through there. Yeah, the other one I didn't make, it's the official Brown Class of 2013 Facebook group. And yes, all of the gay men have found each other. I think I will probably have a few more gay friends. There's some cool ones, so I'll probably deal with them. If not that way, other ways. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
If we spend a period of time not paying attention to what your body is telling you to do, it's going to force us to pay attention to something.
I have been given the green light by my doctor to start running again. Very, very little bits. I can only go on the track for the next 3 weeks. And I'm supposed to increase my lappage by 1 lap every other day. Right now, I'm up to 16 laps, which is 4 miles. So I'm very happy about that because that's where you begin to consider it a run. Yeah, no, I'm not worried at all. I just don't want to fall behind. Can't fall behind.
But how many times has that attitude caused you to fall behind?
Yeah, you're right.
So it's time for a new strategy. It's that every time we bring that don't want to fall behind, every time you're judging your own progress based on some imaginary season that you think you should be having or the seasons that other people are having, that's when a wheel falls off.
Mm-hmm. He does feel like he has to prove something, but it's not because he's gay. It's because he's seen some of the things, he's seen an inkling of what he can do as an athlete, and he demands that of himself.
You have to have the desire to keep up with everyone else, both in training and racing. The main thing for you to do is to make sure that you're well rested, well fed, and in good health when you get to the starting line.
Yeah. It is the classic thing for people in sports to label a screw-up or a weakling, the homo, the Nancy. And yeah, he feels the pressure.
Okay, it's been a really long time since I've done this, and I'm really, really sorry. I've been really busy. Of course, the true story, the good thing is Taylor Williams. Taylor is going to be swimming at Brown next year. He is from Charlotte, North Carolina. We just started talking as friends because the entire class of 2013 basically knows each other already because of Facebook. You know, I thought it was really cool that he was another gay athlete, even though he's not totally out. Really smart, really funny. Really, like, sarcastic like me, and, you know, he's gorgeous. He's, oh my god. Oh, Taylor. We started realizing how much we liked each other, actually. And then those feelings, you know, kind of grew, and we always talked like we were just, you know, friends, but, you know, there was something there, obviously.
My sexual identity definitely takes a backseat to rowing. When I'm with my boyfriend, certainly being gay is a very big part of my identity because I love him a lot, and it probably would be a little bit different if I were straight. But being a rower is a much more full-time activity than being gay. I didn't meet my first actual gay athlete until the end of my junior year, and it just so happened that I started to date him. He was another rower, and my life changed completely. It was a very intense feeling. So it was the first time I had felt like that towards any other person. And it was the first time I could act on it. It was the first time all those things that people have been talking about, I could finally experience. And it was just a connection that no one can describe it. So it lasted 3 months, maybe. The next guy I was really dating was also an athlete, a water polo player. His father could not handle his son being gay, and he couldn't handle his father not accepting him. So that kind of ended our relationship right there. You know, I thought, man, this sucks. There's this guy that I love that I can't see anymore. That was a pretty hard moment for me. The day after, we had a race, and I was definitely not fully able to commit to it. I think it was just a scrimmage, so it wasn't a big race, and we still won it. But I definitely had other thoughts going on in my mind at the time. And I did talk to my teammates about that afterwards. One of my teammates had a vaguely similar experience, and he had some advice for me. It was nice hearing that, a very, you know, gender-neutral dating advice.
Chances are risky. Nothing but my mind is with me. If I don't have a chance, there is nothing left to risk. Gotta find out if something's out there. I'll bait a hook that's never been scared. If something bites, I hope it bites the teeth that break the skin. Is life worth the blood that I'm bleeding? Maybe I should wake you up and stop inside the
race is a big deal. There's no two ways around it.
I want to do well tomorrow because I want to go to state. That's been like the dream since I started running.
However, he has other goals. He's trying to run his best race, his personal best time, and he's trying to run a specific time that might, let's say 9:25, that might allow him to go on and run in a longer race in the 5K.
If I go to nationals, I will be running the 5K, which is the distance I would be running in cross country except on the track. And I think I'd be really good at that. I've never done it before, but also it is where my current boyfriend lives.
Maybe I should try again. Maybe I should try again.
Alternate state. The nationals. I'm going.
Stop up! He's really fast.
That was a great race.
I sneaked in here. Are you mad?
So you did it, man. It was a great race. First alternate. Can we say that?
Yep. First alternate.
And you broke your 25.
21:08. 21:08. Green guy.
I missed making it to state by 1 spot, but my time qualified me for nationals. I'm going to go see Taylor Williams.
Basically on the plane, that's all it was. It was anticipation. I was just really, really excited and really antsy and really jumpy, and I was just like, I want to like see him now. Hey. Good to see you 30 minutes later. It's kind of like seeing a celebrity after seeing them in like pictures so much and stuff, and then you see them, it's like, whoa. How long have we, when did we actually like officially start this?
God, I don't know. I should probably figure that out.
I'm sure we have the conversation like logged somewhere.
I mean, I thought it was cool you were from Berkeley, and that was
Yeah.
awesome, but...
I mean, I always thought it was cool that you were actually like, an athlete. Just that always made me attracted to you. You're in a sport with like no clothing. And you've made it like totally chill with everybody, and like you could really easily make a big issue out of this if you wanted to.
Like nobody ever asked anything because they know it would just be like super awkward if they did.
Yeah.
We talk about other things, like we talk about swimming, we talk about current events, I guess. I mean,
I'm not trying to say like go out and vomit your sexuality all over everybody. Just say, like, you can say it or just acknowledge it, and then just kind of step back and realize that you're here to do a job, which is your sport.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, it's really like very new, and it's all really, really good and really just not what I'm used to. And yeah, I think maybe he's just like made me kind of high, and I'm just sort of still not off of it yet, because I honestly feel very like about everything. I mean, I'm still gonna have to focus really hard on the running, but we'll definitely make time for each other. It's not, I don't see that being an issue at all. He is everything I thought he would be. If going to Brown with him is anything like this, I'm going to be really happy.
Please applaud him.
You're welcome.
Hello, welcome to 93.3 WRFR in Rockland, and this is our show Out on the Air. My name is Starsha, and I'm here with
Liz, Tasha, and Kiefer.
Out on the Air is a show created and organized by Rockland's very own GLBTQAI youth group, Out As I Wanna Be.
There was this girl that I'd become friends with, and I ended up coming out to her and telling her I was gay. Apparently, I'd gotten the Black Plague because she avoided me. You know, she stopped sitting next to me. She sat at the table in front of me. She really didn't talk to me. You know, I never liked being at that school, and making a friend there for me was a big accomplishment. And then, all of a sudden, no, I'm gonna go sit over here. Hurt a lot.
This is Out on the Air, and we would like to thank our sponsor, Dale McCormick. If you'd like to call in, the number is 207-593-0013.
Well, now she goes down to Rockland and attends a group called Out. They are also starting a group on Wednesdays where they want to go into the schools to talk about the bullying that happens when kids come out and how to prevent it. And she's very passionate about that.
Are you guys ready to start the interview after the end of the song, or should we just...
We could probably do the interview next.
Okay.
For me, Out, the gay youth group that I go to, is something that, you know, kind of has replaced sports. It's an escape, but at the same time, I'm able to do something useful, something that maybe one day, you know, down the road will help somebody else.
She did a lot of research on the net when she first came out and used to tell me stories of how kids were thrown out of their homes and beaten and sometimes killed by, you know, these kids were beaten and killed by their peers just because they're gay.
So I'm just gonna put you right on, and you can go ahead and get started, and
You'll be okay.
when they seem to be running out of steam, just have a song ready to go.
I have a friend, she's transgendered, male to female, and she's going to be going through surgery to physically become female. Her brother started making an issue of it, as did her father, and she got to the point where she thought, you know, they're not gonna accept me. You know, I'm tired of causing my family pain. And she's one of my best friends. She overdosed on blood thinners and slit her wrist. The suicide rate amongst GLBT teens is quite a bit higher than heterosexual teenagers. I myself have been there, so I know how hard it is. And I know how easy it is to slip into the nobody wants me, I'm not needed, maybe I should just end it. And I don't want anybody to have to go through that.
WRFR. Hi, Jeremy.
Whoa, hi.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for listening. Oh, awesome. We'll be here in the studio again next week from 5 to 6.
I'm hoping for the radio show, the impact it'll have is maybe, you know, some local kid in the area who's struggling will tune in and be like, whoa, wait a minute, there's a program like this in the area? You know, I'll be able to go somewhere and be accepted and be able to talk freely. It'll enable me to tell my story. It'll enable me to help others who may be going through the same thing.
I think that for professional male athletes who are gay, coming out is still going to be very difficult. The world that athletes live in, the environment, the culture of it is still so powerful. To be a man means something, it's so stereotypically defined still.
If I would have seen a strong image of somebody who was
totally comfortable in their skin as a young man, and that person happened to be gay and a great athlete, it would have changed my life. I might never have reached out to that person, you know, or compromised my secret at the time, but that guy would have changed my life, and for the better.
One of the huge benefits of coming out in as many places as you feel comfortable, whether it's just with your team and your coach or just with a few teammates or whatever, and then continuing to take the next step and the next step and the next step. The benefit of that is, and every gay and lesbian person who is watching this knows what I'm talking about. There is that sense of the shoulders drop. There's sort of a sense of, wow, this is the first day of the rest of my life. Keeping a secret takes a lot of energy, and it affects every aspect of who you are.
I wondered for a long time what you would want me to say on this important day.
Things are changing. You know, things are, getting better. There's more work to be done, and that work can be done by kids. We're not here to teach them everything. They have to show us what they see as wrong and right it.
When our children and grandchildren ask us of our high school experience, there will be no one unanimous answer. They'll hear an eclectic story shaped by a city driven by acceptance, diversity, and change.
To be who he is and not apologize for it likely wouldn't work in a lot of places. Hopefully the example of someone like Austin is the kind of story that helps you understand what can be gained by having an open and welcoming, a harmonious community.
Interactions between classes, races, religions, and all other identities fostered great friendships that I still see today.
I think that the best way to be a role model is not to try too hard and just to do what you're doing and work as hard as you possibly can, because if you're kicking ass at what you do, why should anyone have a problem with, who you sleep with?
We have been provided an incredible opportunity to see the world in a way that so many people never are able to see. I urge you to never take this for granted. In the constant battle the world fights between right and wrong, it is an open-minded spirit that can ease this battle dramatically. Today, we leave with more than just a diploma. We leave with this open-minded spirit, and I urge you, use it. Thank you.
There are very few days where I'm just not extremely proud of Austin. Chances and risk the risky. Nothing but my mind is with me. If I don't have a chance, there is nothing left to risk. Gotta find out if something's out there. I'll bait a hook that's never been scared. If something bites, I hope it bites the teeth that break the skin. Maybe I should wait here. I'm stuck inside the dark. Maybe I should said and done, they say, when all is said and